Hello, class. And you know what we need to do is we need to add shadows to this because, again, shadows make a drawing really come to life. And just like before, sometimes the best way to draw shadows is just to draw them in the way you think they are. And to do that, we're just going to make a new layer. We'll call it shadow, and we're gonna draw it in black. So I'm going to get my fill to black, and we'll just use transparency where it needs to be. Now, if you're not sure where the shadow should be, one trick you can do is you can go to your drawing that we previously worked on in this class. And actually, if you go to your layer list, and if you set it up the same way I did, you're going to have a layer called building, which is the original file. You could also download the original file you had. And if you press Control and click over the uh, if you press Alt on your keyboard, hold it and click on the eyeball, you'll just get the file that just shows the shadow. So you can actually reference this to see approximately what the shadows look like, and then just draw this basic shape out on your other file. So otherwise, just use your mind to what you think the shadow should look like. And I'm going to go ahead and just start drawing it in. And again, using the pen tool, I'm going to come through and sketch. This is going to all be in shadow. It's going to come a little deeper because it sticks out a little further, and it's going to sort of come at the same plane as the roof. And it's just going to catch the edge of this just a little bit. And I'm just going to sketch out to be about equal and all the way down and over and then up the side. And actually this chimney is going to cast, it's just proud of this a little bit. So it's going to come through there just like that in this case, right? That little detail maybe you wouldn't notice, but I'll sort of add it in there. Now this thing is going to cast a shadow on the window, right? So it's going to come down sort of deeper here, and as it sort of goes back in space, it's going to get a little bit even deeper as it goes along here, and then up a little bit higher again to that same plane as it goes. And actually it'll come back at sort of it's going to have a bit of a 45-degree angle there. So, whatever you think the shadow is, it'll sort of look realistic as you need it to be. Um, this thing is going to cast a deep shadow as well. So I can start it here, and it's angled, so it's going to, I think, look something like this and sort of be pretty deep over those windows, just like this. And if you can't see the corner, you can always temporarily set the fill to no stroke so you can see where you're clicking and click around. And then when you're done, you can hit this button and turn it back to being on, just like that. So draw on those shadows. Of course, this is going to also have a pretty deep overhang as well, including probably underneath this surface here. And so I'm going to come down at about the same angle as the other one. I'm going to come down. It's really being cast across here, so it can be deeper than you would think in this case. It's going to come across here, then it sort of will come down this face and over, and then sort of back up a little bit, something like that, and over here, and then almost up entirely here to there. And again, I think I can just cover that whole face. So that's going to be something what that shadow looks like. Again, this is a pretty deep face, so it's going to have a deep shadow on it. And again, it can come down there, and it sort of hits a different plane and comes across. Something like that will be what it is. Here. And then this roof edge is going to be the same as this. So I'm just going to eyeball up the same width and come down. Oops, I missed my first click. Let me fix that up that way. Pretty much all of this joists and all of this is going to be in shadow. In fact, this whole plane back here, a lot of it is going to be mostly shadowed because of the deep overhang. So I'm going to come way down on this plane and sort of go over here, and then I'll come up. I'll just end end it like this. I'll have to add another shadow for this guy. I could make it all one, but I think that would be just easier to do in multiple steps. Perfectly fine. So because I know this guy's going to come down at an angle, much like the rest of mine. It's going to come down just a little bit there, going to come across. As it goes deeper in, just down slightly, across, back up, and angled back in, something like that. There'll even be a little shadow in here, actually, so if I did a little almost like L-shaped shadow in here to highlight that window just a little bit, just like that. And I guess the chimney is going to cast a bit of a shadow here as well. So we'll see that coming in and up that surface. And I'll just again, I'm just estimating the width. I can always edit as needed. Something like this, and I guess this would be in shade as well. So I'll do that, and I think that, well, almost is the last shadow I need to do. There's actually one more very important one I'll need to add. As soon as I can click that off. A little low there, so I'll come here with my white arrow and just fix that. Take your time, it's okay. You'll get it if you keep practicing. And if you need to make any edits, then just make edits as needed. Okay, there's actually going to be shadow on the ground over here as well. So I'm just going to click out here. I'm going to sort of go over in a direction and then sort of take it back. And I'm sort of simplifying the shadow, but that's all that you really need to do. In fact, I think that angle's too steep. I don't like that angle. So we'll do there. And I might add, if I come and click, I can add another point onto my line because I sort of want to maybe do something like that to give it sort of the edge of the roof, and that looks pretty good. So now I've got the shadows drawn in. Now I need to make them transparent. So I'm just going to use my black arrow, select everything, and I'm going to go to my transparency, and I'll start at setting it at 50% and see how that looks. 50, enter. Okay. My num locks wasn't on. That's why I couldn't type it. I was trying to type it in and it wasn't going, but my number locks wasn't on, so it wasn't working. So there we go, about 50%. I feel for this drawing it still looks too dark, so I'm going to go lighter, maybe around 30%. We'll set it there and see how it looks. And not too bad. I could even arguably go lighter. You can notice in some spots, if you overlap your shadow, you can fix that any number of ways. I'll show you one way of fixing it, which is fun, is to go to Window and go to Pathfinder. I have to pull it up, and I can merge shapes together. The reason why this is doing it, because it's overlaying some transparency over top of another, and that's doubling up on that percentage. And so if I make them all one, if I click on this and click on this, these two shapes, and merge them into one, it will only be one shape with one level of transparency. So that's a quick, easy way of doing that. You might have other cases around that you need to do that too as well. If so, just merge them as needed, and set the transparency to the level that you want. And now that we have that, it sort of enhances the 3D shape of our drawing. I think I actually want to edit this a little bit. I need to add a point in here, I think, and I need to take this up. This is a little awkward. I got to have that angle there for the edge of the roof. That's that edge there that you sort of see coming around on that face, like that. So there you go. I think that looks better. Do what you need to do and have a good drawing. I actually think I'm just going to try lightening my shadows. I don't feel like you need very dark shadows on this drawing. Sometimes either really light works. I got to say, sometimes very strong shadows can be really quite interesting as well. It really depends on the drawing, but for me, I think I'm going to go a bit lighter on this one. Just to give the subtle effect of three-dimensional look. There we go. I like that. I'm going to end that now. We'll come back and we'll continue to look at ways of making this drawing better.